Everyone, we're glad to see you here. If everyone can squeeze in. My name is Lori Boyle, and I'm going to be the timekeeper tonight for the speakers. I'm going to ask all of you who might have questions during this meeting to please write them down and hold them to the end of the meeting, because we do have quite a few speakers and we want to keep this flowing and moving. We're really excited that you're all here, and I'm going to introduce Tim Jacobson.
Thank you, Lori. So tonight, I just want to first give a shout out to the Moto Station for hosting the event, allowing us to come here. Thank you very much. Spend your money here. I'm sure they appreciate that. And just want to introduce a great woman, Elvesia Ramos. She's been inspiration. She's started the Writers Foundation to help writers and get this community together and do this kind of thing for us. So, Elvesia.
I am so happy you guys are all here to learn about lane filtering. A lot of people worked really hard for this, so I really do appreciate that you are the face of the Moto community and you're going to take this information back to everybody. Thank you. Now, regarding the Writers Foundation, so I am just going to talk about some of the highlights, some of the events that we're having this year. One of the events that's coming up is the group ride. If you need to know how to sharpen your writing skills in a group, we have one on 4/27/19. Okay, and there's flyers out in front. The other great event that we're having is Moto Expo in Wendover, Utah. It's going to be on May 31st through June 1st. It is going to be the biggest event of the year, and we'll have Michelle explain that event. Let's see here. The other thing that we're going to be having this year is called Ride to Work Moto Mixer. We're going to bring all the community, cyclists, scooters, electric bikes, motorcycles, and we're going to all come together. Everybody's going to ride to work, whatever you want to ride, and then after work at 6 o'clock we will have an event called Moto Mixer to celebrate Ride to Work Day, and that's going to be on June 17th, so put that on your calendars. The other thing too is we are going to have the Department of Public Safety will have a family safety fair where you can bring your children to learn about motorcycles and how to be safe. There's going to be all sorts of safety stuff, but bring your whole family. The other one that's really important as well is the Veterans Charity Ride that we're hosting here in Salt Lake City. And if you haven't check it out on Facebook. It's going to be amazing. These veterans, they get on these brand new bikes and they go through motorcycle therapy. So they're going to be launching from here instead of from Los Angeles. So keep that in mind. That's going to be a great event on July 22nd through the 24th. And we're going to be escorting the veterans all the way to Moab. All right, guys, I am going to introduce Tim Jacobson. He is our new board member for the Writers Foundation, and he will be talking about the motorcycle awareness license plate.
So, along with the lane filtering bill, we were actually able to pass a second bill that was for a new license plate. What that license plate will do is help raise funds to promote safety and awareness for all of the motorcycle community. We've got some information here on the table. You can sign up tonight. You can get your plate. If you don't have the VIN number, that's okay. We will email you to get that. We just need to get your information. You can pay for it now. You can also pay for it on our website. And the first 500, the cost is $50. The first 500 of those people that sign up and pay the fee, they'll get a chance to vote on the design of the plate, but they'll also get a special prize or a special gift for being one of the first 500 as well. And so then, that's pretty much it.
We will have a raffle item for the motorcycle awareness license plate.
Yeah, one of the raffle items tonight will be for the motorcycle license plate.
They're for cars.
Just as a side note, the license plate is for cars,
Trucks,
trailers, trucks, any of those. It's not for motorcycles. There's just not enough numbers available for that. So that's why we've got the other plates. So at this point, I'm going to introduce Michelle. She's from Vogel Promotions. She's going to talk about an event that she's got planned out in Wendover. It's going to be pretty awesome, so I'll let her tell you about that.
Woo!
Hey everybody, so I've got an expo I'm putting together for actually all of the motorcycle industry, all of us in the independent motorcycle shop world. So I'm getting all the people who own all these shops, whether it's Caesar's Motorcycle, Chapel, Dirty Rat, Greasy Biker, trying to get them all under one roof in Wendover, the Enola Gay hangar, and it'll give everyone the opportunity to know that there's other shops out there that'll help everybody on, it don't matter if it's a Harley, a metric bike, if it's a scooter. We got all the fabricators, all of our painters, upholstery people that are all going to be there. So everyone can meet them and know who to fall back on. And if, once again, if you guys don't know exactly who to fall back on, you can always call one of us because we kind of know who does what. But it's kind of better to meet everybody who owns a shop and who does what, and it'll be a close-on contact. With the expo, we're actually going to have the DPS down there doing some riding courses down there on Friday and Saturday. So I'll have them down there running a couple on Friday, I think 3 on Friday and 4 on Saturday. And people are more than welcome to jump in and ride your bikes through the course. I do have bands lined up for that, so it'll be a 2-day event. There will be an actual scavenger hunt put together for this. It's not a poker run or anything like that. It'll be a $1,000 winner scavenger hunt it'll last the end of the year, but it pays up to 5th place. So that gives you guys plenty of time to actually go out and ride around on your bikes too and see other shops out there. Visit with all of them. Also, we are doing a motorcycle raffle, and that probably won't be posted until mid-April when we find out what exactly we're going to be raffling off. And all the flyers will start going out mid-April, and everyone will know who's all going to be there. I'm trying to invite everybody. I do have a little bit of open space for some more people to come in. We will have food trucks. There will be a bar. Just, you know, it's a big opportunity for everyone to come out and meet each other, basically. You know, it don't matter what you're on.
Woo!
What else?
Secure motorcycle.
Oh, yes. I will, if you do decide to ride out there and spend the night in Wendover, whether you're on the Utah side or Nevada side, we are actually going to be able to secure motorcycles at the hangar on airport property. So if you don't want to leave your bikes in the casino's parking lot or wherever, worried that someone's going to run into your bike, you can actually leave it there at the airport hangar. And it will be fully secured all night for 2 days. So that'll be the opportunity for everybody to come out and kind of have a good time too as well. Oh yes, I was actually given some really nice items for photography shooting, which I'm still looking for a photographer. The airport actually is lending me an airplane and a couple of military vehicles for the photo shoot. So it'll be really cool. I've already got pictures of it because I was in the hangar on Monday, so when I found out they were giving that to me.
Get a picture with a tank.
That would be awesome. Okay, next up is Kim?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you back to Kim.
All right, so just another quick thing. On the 27th of April, we've got a group ride event. What we're doing is it's a sharpen your skills. If you've not ridden in group rides, this is the perfect time to come and learn about how to ride with groups safely. Because there's a lot of different skills that you acquire that when you're in the mix with 40 other bikes, you're not riding quite the same as a solo. That's going to be on the 27th. Want to talk to you right now about the guy that helped get HB 149, the lane filtering bill that we're all here about. His name's Parker Boyack. He helped get that passed through with Representative Walt Brooks. And so I'm going to introduce him and let him take over.
Hello everyone. I never really imagined this would happen. I'm just a regular guy. I'm not a part of any organization or anything. I am from California, and I was listening to the legislature debate about lane splitting last year. I don't remember the number of that bill, but they were debating it and vehemently opposed, which frankly I never lane split myself, and so I didn't really care. But my thought was, well, you know, in California, when I was learning to ride, I would always lane filter. And that's something that I feel like for people who don't ride is a lot easier to digest. So luckily I've got a few connections, including a brother up at the Capitol, and so he connected me with Representative Brooks, who I don't think is here, but he's a representative from down in St. George and was amazing, and probably the main reason that this bill passed. He did a very good job working with UHP, UDOT, a whole bunch of other organizations, including Riders Foundation, and he did a really good job. I just kind of got the ball rolling, and he kicked it. So if you have any questions around the nitty-gritty, I'd be happy to answer it. But you know, my main thing that I want to communicate to you guys is that I'm just a normal dude, you know, and so if you have an idea, if you want to change something, you know, you just have to be, you know, willing to take the time to go and talk to people up there. It's amazing how many of the committee meetings that we went to where it was like me, Ovesia, and maybe one other person. Nobody else. So there's a lot that's going on up there, and I invite you to get involved. It doesn't necessarily have to be with your legislator. For example, my senator didn't really do much at all to help me. He never responds to my emails. But there were other senators that are really willing to help, right? So just find who is passionate about this. You know, some people up there know quite some, so.
So you are here to listen to the Department of Public Safety to tell you when you can lane filter and the do's and the don'ts. Please listen, because there's a 3-year sunset clause on this law. If people misuse it, it's out of here, and it's going to be harder for us to like Parker says, to have more bills in place that's going to keep us motorcyclists safe. Okay?
So, and just a reminder, I mean, these guys, they've been talking with the legal experts. They know the law, and they're here to let us know exactly the ins and outs of that. Again, if you have any questions, please write them down, bring them up. We're all more than happy to talk to you about it and clarify anything at the end. So with that.
And also the raffle tickets, we have a couple of raffle items to give away. So if you did RSVP to our event, you will get a bunch of raffle items that we have for free. So make sure you stay and keep your questions at the end. Let them present, because there's a lot of information to cover. Okay, thank you. I'm going to introduce you to Officer Nicholas Street, and he is with the Department of Public Safety, and he is the person that is in charge of all motorcycle issues.
Thank you for having me. Quite a turnout. This is awesome that you all cared enough to learn more about this law that you came here to this event, and that's impressive. But we do have our work cut out for us as motorcycle riders. We have just passed a law that is kind of counterintuitive to what we're taught in Western civilization from kindergarten, right? We line up in a single file line and everybody takes their turn, and now we just made a law that says, hey, these guys get to go to the front of the line. So the deck is stacked against you already. I hope you all understand that. So with that, you know, if you've got some pretty loud pipes and my grandma calls me and says, you wouldn't believe what somebody in a Harley Davidson just did right next to my car window, I'm probably not going to be okay with that. So that message of civility, remember, if you've got a loud motorcycle, you're the only one that likes it, typically. So, maybe a few other motorcyclists, but it's a small group, so be very cognizant of that. One of the things, so I'm just going to kind of run down what the law, as it's written, directly means. So basically, you cannot lane filter on a roadway that has a speed limit greater than 45 miles an hour. So some examples here where you're going to be able to do it would be like 7th East, State Street, Redwood Road. These roads in our county are going to be, you're going to be able to do it. You can only do it when the cars are stopped. So the cars have to be stopped, and then on your motorcycle you can go at a speed no greater than 15 miles an hour in between those cars up to the front of like a red light, or if it's a traffic jam due to traffic or like a crash, you can filter up to where you can maneuver around it safely where their cars are stuck. Keep in mind, we've got a message to get out to the general motoring public that this is now okay, and they need to understand that there is a benefit to it. For one, I believe the statistics that was given to me was 1,288 motorcyclists rear-ended, with some of those, some pretty severe injuries, even some fatalities, on Utah roadways between 2011 and 2017. So looking at this is like, you know, you've got that situation where you're on a motorcycle, you're occupying a vehicle space. How can we best get that person off that X where they're in a danger zone? And this is a great way to do it. So if we can get that message to the public that it's for everyone's safety, for the safety of the motorcyclists, and it also benefits the motoring public because you're no longer taking that vehicle space, right? So now traffic is flowing a little faster because there's now a motorcycle that's not occupying a space that would be otherwise occupied by a vehicle. So with that in mind, I think I've hit on some of the major points of the law. I'm trying to think if I've missed anything. I'm just going to look over my notes here. One of the last things to remember is there's kind of this subjective standard that's put at the end of the law, which says the movement has to be made with reasonable safety, right? So if you're lane filtering and it looks at all unsafe to the objective perception of a law enforcement officer, you can get cited. So make sure that whatever movement you make when you begin the filtering movement, you can do it with reasonable safety. The other thing I didn't mention, it has to be 2 or more lanes. So if it's a single lane roadway, you've got to occupy a space like a vehicle would. But if there's 2 or more lanes, you can go ahead and filter between the vehicles. Now, some of the interesting things are things that the law doesn't say. Now, it's been brought to my attention that, you know, our motorcycles, do they have to go down between the cars? That's not necessarily the case. I think you can, with reasonable safety, sometimes it might be safer to go on the outside left side of the cars, or maybe the outside right side of the far right lane and the right-hand turn lane. Just kind of like how cyclists do, because cyclists already do this illegally, but they already do it. And motorcyclists should be able to do the same thing. So with that, anybody else have anything to add? Have I missed anything? No? All right, I'll turn it over to Sergeant Jonathan Lucas.
They called me out here to come over and talk to you guys about this. 2 years ago, I had a meeting with some of you guys, and we had a little class and we talked about lane filtering, the do's and the don'ts type of thing. Sergeant Street obviously brings up some big points as far as left, right, center kind of thing. Realize that the roads that you're driving down also have center medians. Okay, I'm driving down State Street the other day in my patrol car, 3-lane roadway. Are you allowed to lane filter down that way? Yes, you are. Same direction of traffic. However, as you go down that left side of the roadway, realize that there's a center median. That hurts. Really, really bad. I've done it. I know. Okay? Right side. Realize too that there are people that are going to be getting in and out of cars, maybe, and a door hurts really, really bad. Okay? Pedestrians walking down the roadway, the bicyclists like he talked about are down that right side as well. So realize these things are there. That's why that clause at the very end is if you can do it safely. Okay, some other things to think about too, large vehicles that are there. I've got a motorhome that's got mirrors that are, you know, like Dumbo. They're huge. Okay, so realize that too as you're driving down the road and see those mirrors and the different things that are there. Large vehicles also can't see it. Okay? As I'm exiting the freeway right here, a guy decides to cut me off in my unmarked police car, so we had a chat. Okay? But realize that that happens every day out here to us, especially on motorcycles. And like I told you guys in the past, and I've told you all the time, we're seasonal. Okay? Very, very seasonal. This year there was no way we were riding in the winter because it was pretty cold and there was road icy, right? So realize that too. They were seasonal out here. So understand that those are the things that are going to be happening out there. They're not used to you obviously passing them when we're in slow traffic. On top of now, there's the other motoring public out there that really don't see you anyways, okay? So really emphasize this safety thing, okay? If you can do it safely. I live over by airport number 2, off of 6200 South, and as I was thinking about this meeting today, I'm in my police car again, like I say, and I'm watching the lane, the road just narrow. You know, we're at 9 o'clock in the morning, where I was on my police motorcycle back in the day. I turned my lights and siren on if I had an incident to go to, and people parked the way for me. It's kind of really cool. You guys don't have that luxury. Okay, so like I said, really pay attention to this, guys. And like you said, it's one of those things where we got 2022, July 1st, 2022. That's when this thing could be checked or not. Okay, realize too that a lot of the states that already have this in place have primary helmet laws. That could be in the works for you that don't like helmets. You know what I mean? I mean, just look at the future of this kind of things as well. So we'll take questions obviously off air here, but like I say, just be careful out there because it's a dangerous world when we're riding. Okay, thanks.
There were a couple things I forgot to mention, and one was mentioned before, but the effective date is May 14th. So it was mentioned that, you know, make sure you're civil, you're not doing it before then. The law doesn't actually go into effect until May 14th, and that's automatic 60 days after the end of the session. That's when it is enacted. So write that date down. 1 minute after midnight on May 14th, you can begin this lane filtering. The other thing is, and again it was mentioned, it does grandfather out in 2022. So if you go back to the drawing board and our state legislators decide, yeah, this is not what we wanted, and it will be over. So we've got to make sure that we're on the up and up and not causing issues for the motoring public. Hopefully they see the benefit and we can make those benefits known and be vocal about it with them and amongst our family and friends, and hopefully they can spread that message. But on the whole, I think we can handle that. Couple of scenarios. Do you want to run through a few?
Sure.
Yeah.
And if you have any questions, this is a time to ask it now that we have everybody here. Okay?
So I was thinking there's been a lot of people asking about some more common scenarios are, what if I'm going between stopped cars and the light turns green before I get to the front, right? And so basically, I know I want to mention that it's gonna be difficult at first. Drivers aren't gonna know what to do or whatever, but generally they're gonna keep going the same way they've been going. They're gonna be on their phones and they're gonna take a second to get going, and so there's gonna be this nice gap to either your left or your right that you could just slide on in. So, because once the cars are moving, you cannot be between them anymore. That is lane splitting, and that is illegal. So once the cars start moving, you just find a gap, and obviously, I think everyone here is a pretty safe person, so you'll be able to judge, this guy to my left is in a pickup, and he's flooring it. I'm not gonna mess with going over there, but there's an old lady right here who's obviously not going very fast, so I'm gonna slide over on this side. So that's one of the more common ones that people were asking about. Another one that did come up actually in the legislature, there was one of the representatives lives by Cottonwood Canyon, and she was saying, well, what if there's like 6 bikes piled up in the middle? First off, hopefully when you guys are riding in big groups, you aren't doing that. I would highly recommend that if you're with like 3 or more people, you don't all go in between, because then it's going to be a mess of everybody trying to get in the gaps. So if you're alone, if you're commuting, if you're with a buddy, fine. But I would recommend any more than that. It just works very seamlessly. You know, there's one of the guys who was testifying with me, he lives in Linden now. He's a retired motorcycle officer from San Diego. So he's been doing it his whole life. And he always talks about the natural gaps in traffic, which I love, because it's just so true. You have gaps between all the cars, and then you have a gap when you get to the front of the light turns green. You know, sometimes you might have a guy who gets excited and tries to race you, let him go. They're gonna pull him over. But generally, the motorcycle is lighter and faster than a car. It's physics, right? And so you're gonna very easily pull up ahead of these cars and just drift into a lane. So, and then you're ahead of the whole group of cars. All those cars know that you're there, instead of being in the back and none of them knowing you're there. So that's a couple of scenarios. I know some of you probably might have some other more specific scenario questions, so I don't know how we're going to do questions, but maybe raise your hand. And...
Lady in the back.
Sorry, not very tall.
Yes, back there.
Can you touch a little bit on stop and go traffic scenarios where there's a stoplight, but maybe it's 3 cycles to get through that light, and how to best handle those?
I want to repeat the question.
Yeah, so the question is, if it's stop and go traffic and there's a stoplight, but you're waiting through multiple cycles of the light, which I did this evening, as a matter of fact, at 7th East and 45th South as I was trying to come westbound. Yeah, in that circumstance, you know, you've got, you can't filter unless the cars are stopped, and that's pretty cut and dry in the law. So if cars start moving at all and you're still filtering, you're in the wrong. Unfortunately. So you've got to wait until the cars are stopped to move back in. Once the cars start moving again, find that natural gap, put yourself back in there. While the cars are moving, move with them. Once they stop, you're welcome to go back in the gap in between the cars and continue to filter. You can't exceed 15 miles an hour. Keep those things in mind. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you
Okay.
very much.
I'd like to say something.
Oh, yeah.
So and we'll get to your questions, but a real quick thing, there's nothing in this law that says you have to filter. I want to point out that for safety's sake, if you don't feel comfortable filtering, don't. You don't have to do it. But if you do it, be safe. That's the main point we want to make. Okay. And then questions.
Guy in the back was up.
Speak louder.
Speak louder, please.
Or come to the front.
Or come to the front, yeah.
I also had some California time, and one thing I noticed there, you get to the front, and some people, the light turns green, and in California that means 3 more cars. If you do a drag start off of that green light, there may be someone coming through. So you're going to get out in front of everybody, and you're going to get T-long. So you have to, use your head.
Right, so the three per red light on the left turn, I like to call it. Realize that's going to be an issue out there, guys. We get up to the front, and yes, we can accelerate past these vehicles, but you got to remember too, I can't burn out. Okay, I can't, I drop the clutch. We were talking about that back here, kind of laughing about it. You got to be really heads up on this type of thing. The times when you're sitting there and you throw it into neutral, where you're sitting in the middle of the road lines, is gone. I mean, you really can't be doing that. You need to be heads up on this type of thing.
If you do have questions, if you have a question, come up to the front, let's make a line, and then we can easily address them. We can make sure everybody can hear your questions as well. So, go ahead.
The question I had was, is there a plan of action in place right now to inform the community and the public of the new law so that we're protected and they can be expecting us to be there when we go through?
You bet. Yeah. In fact, so Department of Public Safety has taken this very serious because it's something that we're going to need to address for the safety of the motoring public and obviously motorcycle riders as well. So we have, I've spoken to 2 news stations already this week regarding this issue. We have a number of them here today that are covering it. So we're getting some pretty good play with local media. And we're going to be doing more on our social media through public safety as well. And if you all will follow us at DPS or at Utah DPS or at UT Highway Patrol on Twitter, feel free to share anything that we're putting out there, retweeting it, and you can help us get the message out. Now on May 8th, we're going to be doing a series of videos as to, we'll set up cars like they're stopped at a stoplight. We're going to have some of our motors officers on their private motorcycles come in, and we'll shoot some videos that are going to be PSAs for people to see when and how it's going to happen. So we'll get that out just before the law goes into effect on the 14th. But we are, I hope that answers your question. Our plan is to just shotgun this out as much as we can because we didn't get left much time. The governor signed it on the 21st, which, correct me if I'm wrong, that was last Wednesday. And so by the time I checked to see if it had been signed yet, it was Friday, and then that started this week. So I'm just doing my best to get the message out. So
there's a site there. There's a site. So in Australia, they actually lane filter quite a bit. In fact, Nick and I were talking about it the other day. Did you Google?
Yeah, it was South Australia lane filtering.
Yeah, lane filtering, and actually it has some very good thoughts for you guys as far as riders go. Look at that site and see what they're doing over there, because it's very similar to what we've got. Now, their laws are a lot more strict, and ours will be too, I'm sure, as time comes on, to where, you know, it's safe to pass in, you know, set type of traffic. You know, I mean, this is very vague the way we've got this thing out right now, but realize that this YouTube video that I was watching was really good information for you guys to look at, okay? Because they'll understand, hey, this is really narrow because of the 2 semi-trucks that are right there. I probably shouldn't make that, especially if you got, you know, the large fairing or the big saddlebags, okay?
Okay, my question is, I work for UDOT, and we have a lot of construction projects out there. When we take a lane down, the 1 lane, and they come from 2 to 1, do they got to stop at the transition, or can they go ahead and filter up if you have the left shoulder?
That's going to be do it safe. It's going to fall back just like our freeway down here. If you're traveling southbound on I-15 and says that, sorry, if I can step back, right, you guys probably can. I'll step in. You know, it says the HOV lane is suspended. You guys understand what that means, right? You can be in there. So same type of thing. That law is going to be into effect. It's no longer a 2-lane roadway. It's a one lane in that direction. Now, if you go in the other direction, it may be still 2 lanes, so you'll probably be okay. But you know, just something to think about there.
You have a question here.
On the multiple lane thing, we have a lot of roads that are, say, 5 lanes wide, but they're only striped for 1 lane of travel each way with a wide center divider. Is that okay to lane filter there? Or it has to
So the question was, let's say you have east and west lane, or a north and south lane, and a continuous left-hand turn lane. Is it okay to filter there? And the answer is no. That's a single lane roadway in one direction. So 2 lanes in the same direction are going to be the requirements in order to do that. Yep. Yes.
Can you confirm that this is now available statewide? And if we violate it, what is the penalty and the charge?
Motorcycle gets taken away. So they put bail schedules out that say what the fine is going to be, and those haven't been created yet. So I don't know what the fine associated is with it yet. It's going to be an infraction. I don't believe it rises to a misdemeanor level offense.
Just remember to repeat the question.
Yeah. So the question was, help me out.
Is it statewide?
Yeah. Is the law statewide? Yes. Which it is. And the other question is, what is a fine associated with violating it? And again, the bail schedule, from my understanding, which you guys have seen differently, it hasn't come out yet, so I don't know what the fine is. But I can speak to the level of offense being an infraction versus a misdemeanor level offense.
And it is May 14th when it's...
May 14th. Yep, May 14th is the date that it will be in effect. Yes?
Okay, so I work for UTA, and bicyclists pass us on the right all the time when we're stopped.
Correct.
So that's actually very dangerous because we have passengers exiting the bus. So my comment would be, please do not pass a bus on the right. And is there anything in the law stating?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if a bus is at a bus stop, it's illegal to drive a car, bike, whatever it is, on the right side of that bus if passengers are offloading. That's my understanding. I don't know the exact statute, but so the question is, if a bus is offloading passengers, obviously, well, maybe not obvious to everyone, but you're not going to be able to filter on the right side of that bus. So understand that.
It doesn't you can't always tell that we're offloading because sometimes we are stopped right in the lane.
Correct. And sometimes it might be hard to tell that the bus is actually offloading passengers because they're not directly at the bus stop right by the lane, but they still are letting passengers offload. You're going to be in a lot of trouble if you find yourself in that position. Up front here.
Can you can you filter in between, like a 2 lanes straight, and let's say 1 left turn lane, filter and then turn left when the light goes?
I think you can. So the question is, if you're just traffic has to be stopped.
Come up and then the light goes.
Yeah. So the only issue, like, you may have an issue there is if it's a shared continuous left turn lane for like eastbound and westbound or northbound and southbound traffic. That car could always come in from the opposite traffic. Now, if you're close to an intersection, then I think you're going to be just fine. You have cars in the left turn lane, cars in that far left lane, and you move in between them to make the left turn. I don't see, there's nothing that prohibits that with the legislation that's been enacted. So. Yes.
Let me add something to that though too. So as far as the lane filtering goes, we're talking, you know, left turn lane there. I can't go beyond that left turn lane. You understand what I mean? So basically so we have a double stripe line.
Right.
So that lane that's our turn lane and number one.
under between.
Yeah,
The light
that's
bulb gives
okay.
me a left turn. I can go. You know, the car's going to go this way. I can go kind of around.
Right, but realize
As long
too,
as
as you're
it's
getting ready to make that left
Yeah.
turn there, this car is gonna do that too, and a lot of times they're not paying attention,
Right.
and they're gonna come into you because they dip to turn, especially a semi-truck or a larger vehicle, okay? So realize that type of thing too. Okay, next question.
Okay, so there's a lot of talk about the motorcyclists making the lane filtering maneuver safely. And you guys are obviously going to be in charge of determining whether or not that's safe. So if a motorist, because Yukon drivers, maybe drivers everywhere, are not necessarily friendly to other cars, if something, I mean, are you guys going to make determinations, or a judgment call, or is always...
Before any movement like that can be made, or you would know, like, hey, I need to stop, that car's going to move over there, I don't know why, because they're signaling for 2 seconds, and if they don't do that and they still make the movement without a signal, they're technically in violation of the law. That would, in that circumstance, that's how I would handle it. Would you guys handle it any different? So, okay.
You're at a stoplight, you're getting ready to go up green, who gets to go first, the car or the bike?
Yeah, so this goes back to, the question is, if you're at a stoplight and the light turns green, who gets to go first? Well, I mean, you're putting yourself back in a bad spot if you're not getting ahead of traffic, because that's the whole idea, right? You have a lot less weight than the cars, you've got less momentum, you can get going faster, and you can move ahead of them and take the lane. Now, there are some pretty fast cars out there that are going to be able to beat me as fast as I can release the clutch and hit the throttle. But with that, I know my limitations. I'm not going to try to race them. I'm going to let them go, and I'm going to move safely into that natural gap between that car and the other car. But keep in mind, state law requires 2 seconds following distance, so you need to have 2 seconds from the rear of the car that you're moving in behind and your front tire, and also 2 seconds between your rear tire and the car behind you. You can get stopped for that, for not leaving 2 seconds. That's an unsafe lane movement as well. So, yeah.
So something to think about too on this thing, guys, is it's just like passing. If I'm stopped at a stoplight and I'm getting ready to move over to the right because I'm going to make a right turn down the next road or something like that, I'm going to accelerate and do it safely. So same type of thing that in this, if the car takes off, like you said, so be it, let it go, you know, kind of thing, and then merge into the travel lanes as safe as you can. Realize that the majority of people should be merging to the left if we're passing because we're accelerating there. Something else too, don't get into that crosswalk line past the stop line. You guys understand what I mean by the stop line? So there's a line, and there's another line that's a crosswalk. So don't pull into that thing way up there, because then you're going to be cited, and then it's going to come back against the motorcycle community again. Hey, they're pulling up into the crosswalk, and now pedestrians can't walk across the roadway, and they're just going to be upset by it. So realize that this is something that you guys can keep. We can keep in the law as long as we're being cool about it. You know, it's that, you know, 7, 8 motorcycles line up, you know, all 3 lane lines and go. You know, that's gonna be a problem. Same thing if, you know, we decide, okay, I'm gonna line up over here, and I'm gonna line up over here, and we're all in the crosswalk, and nobody can cross the street now. So it's gonna help if you guys really help us out with this type of thing to stay in the law. You know, as well, like I say, do it safe. That's the key thing on this whole law. And I've been running through all this stuff through my head since it came out on Friday. Nick called me up and says, hey man, you want to come talk? And I said, yeah, sure, whatever. And I'm sitting there asking myself all these questions because I really have a problem with it, because I'm scared for the people that are out there. Because I've been on a job for 24 years and I've seen a lot of crashes. And people don't care. You know, the cell phone's the coolest thing ever made until you're driving your car. You know, type of thing. So we are, you know, the guy that's, you know, no offense to smokers, got the cigarette, his cell phone, and then he reached down to get his soda pop too, is the guy that I worry about coming into my lane as I'm, you know, coming up at the stoplight. So realize that those are the things that we got to be aware of as motorcyclists. Okay? More questions? Yes.
Yeah, so all these scenarios, great data points. Can you help us understand in 3 years how they're going to review the success of this statute and kind of the data that's going to be used to make a decision whether it's going to stay on the books or be repealed?
It's my understanding that there was no data for lane filtering that we could present to anybody in the session. That's my understanding. So we had our hands tied on that type of thing, and there was a lot of data that said, hey, it's safe in all these other states that are going on there. So I'm assuming that the crash results that are there are going to be what they use as the data. You know, if there's, you know, whatever the roads that are there, I mean, you got Foothill and 7th East, State Street, Redwood, what's up north? Ogden up there, 89, I don't think 89 is a 55. Washington, you know, some streets, yeah, Harrison, some streets like that are gonna be, you know, big that we can actually go through, but also have center median. So if I got you know, that's gonna be data. Okay, guy hit the center median. Guy got, you know, hit by a motorcycle or a bicyclist. All that stuff's gonna come into play for crash results, and those are where we're gonna get those statistics and come back and say, okay, let's revisit this. Because like I say, the primary helmet law may be something that goes up, as well as maybe the lane splitting. You guys understand the difference, right? Lane splitting is 50 miles an hour or more, and you can, you know, do it wherever you want.
While the cars are moving.
So, yeah, while the cars are moving. Where lane filtering to stop traffic at a stoplight or a situation where it dictates a hard stop for everybody that's there, and then you can move up in 45 mile an hour or less at 15 miles an hour or less. I would recommend less, just because it's hard to see, you know, what's going on with these people. And then that drink comes out the window, you know, or the cigarette, you know, that feels good in the ear, you know, type of thing. So what's your question?
So I have a question that correlates with someone else's. I didn't see him, but it was, so when the lanes filter down for construction reasons, as long as there's still 2 lanes and the speed limit is now lowered to a point that is now legal, even though it isn't normally legal, is that okay?
I would assume so, as long as it's safe. Remember, the big word on this thing is safe, okay? Because realize, in my experiences, our average travel lane is anywhere from 12 to 10 feet wide, okay? How big is your motorcycle width? What's your average car width? 5 to 6 foot, okay? So what did we just take away? I got 2 cars in there, they're 6 feet across. We have this much room that we can go through. Is that gonna be safe for you to go down the road? You know what I mean? It's things like that that you gotta really consider out there. There's some lanes that are larger and wider. 7th East is a great road, it's pretty wide. But realize that there's the shoulder has got pedestrians or cars on it, and it slopes a little bit. And then there's a center median in a couple spots. It only may be this big, but that hurts on the front tire. You know what I mean? I mean, you can sit back and get over it, but there's tricks to that too. You know what I mean? There's different skills there. Let me get this question. There was one over here, if I remember correctly. No.
Well,
Yes.
I just want to say that, you know, with this filtering, we might need a helmet law. So
There's no talk. That's me.
Right. Okay. Well, I would definitely rather see this go than have a helmet law. But I'm just wondering, so you think the data will be the one that helps us decide whether or not people talk? I mean, we always have it on the top. You think the crash data?
I don't know. It depends on the numbers. You know what I mean? I mean, I can't say yes or no that we're going to have a helmet law. It's talked about all the time, but it hasn't passed yet because there's a lot of people that are like, I don't want that kind of thing.
Let's not give them a reason.
Then that's it. That's right.
Right, we done. So we're not. The goal of this isn't to make a helmet law, obviously, right? This is separate. And while there may be some that want a helmet law, others don't. Me personally, I'm for do what you want. You know, I wear a helmet, but I'm not going to ask everybody else to. I think it's wise, but that's their choice, right? Now, we do have time for one more question. If you do have other questions, though, our officers will be here. They can come up to them, ask them the questions. They'll answer them for you. Then we're going to do the raffle. There are still free taco tickets, so if you haven't gotten one, you want a free taco, we have some blue tickets out there at the front table. You can go and get them. First come, first serve. Once we're out, we're out. And then you got to buy the tacos yourself. So last question. Are we? We're just gonna start the raffle because we're running out of time.
Yes, guys, and there's a lot of raffle items we want to give away. All right. So, Bill from the Law Tigers, can you please come to the front? Bill from the Law Tigers. All right, so this is going to be the motorcycle awareness license plate.
Signing off. A lot of good information, so watch the video.
That number is 5490169. Okay, the next one is going to be, Bill, he's got a couple of raffle items to give away, so let's have Bill talk to let us know what he's giving away. Thank you, Law Tigers.
First, we just got 4 pairs of sunglasses, riding glasses that you can get here. So,
Okay, the first one, 5490228. Going once, going twice. All right, next one, 5490144. Woo! The next one, 5490238. Going once. The next one, 5490195.
So close.
Which one?
544.
now we've got a couple of helmet plating kits.
5490174. 5490174. Okay, next one. 5490152. 54901. 54901.
01? Yeah, you're missing a number.
Yeah. 5490226. Hold on, guys.